Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Can want open borders where people are allowed to pour in.
Raleigh police rushed to the scene of a home after receiving a threatening call. And Tesla issues an urgent warning about more than 125,000 cars in the U.S., the problem that could put drivers in danger. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. WRAL was the only local station to carry the former president's remark live. Let's listen in.
As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances.
His sentencing date is 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. That's where he's expected to be named the GOP nominee for president. Trump's attorneys may try to push his sentencing date later, possibly even after the November 5th presidential election. However, that's unlikely. The judge will actually grant a delay.
The conviction of the presumptive Republican presidential nominee has many voters contemplating how they will vote this fall. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us live from Apex, a town where it's a pretty even split of registered Republican and Democrat voters. We'll get to Sean in just a moment.
Yeah, Renee, there's actually an even bigger number of unaffiliated voters out this way. About 47% of the voters in this part of Apex actually registered as unaffiliated. So you see these cars here going here behind me. About 1 out of every 2 of those cars has an unaffiliated voter. But how will they vote in this upcoming election? Now, WRAL polls back in March looked to see how voters would be impacted by a conviction. Nearly half of unaffiliated voters in our state said they'd be less likely to vote for Trump if he was convicted. That could put nearly 1.3 million votes up for grabs across the state. And this is a state Trump won by just under 75,000 votes in 2020. I found 2 voters this morning in Apex, one Republican and one unaffiliated. But they both had the same answer with how this vote would affect their vote in the fall.
My vote is not going to change. I knew this outcome was coming. I didn't think it was a particularly fair setting for Trump.
It does absolutely nothing. I mean, it's the same choices that we had 4 years ago, so.
And the Republican National Committee put out a statement today saying that this is not going to affect how this vote goes in the fall. They tell us that since the verdict was announced, they say nearly 500,000 donors have dropped nearly $35 million, again, since this verdict was announced. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News, Apex.
A heavy police presence this morning in a southeast Raleigh neighborhood. Within about 30 minutes, police confirmed it was a swatting call. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live on Griffiths Glen Drive. Destiny, have you heard from any neighbors? Anyone saying anything?
Well, Chris, I talked to a number of neighbors out here today. They were initially confused to see that heavy police presence here, but throughout the day here, they also say that it was also scary for them as well. A swatting call is when someone calls first responders, tricking them into thinking that there is an emergency at someone else's house. Now, if you take a look at this video, you can see a woman, this is Sky 5 video, you can see a woman come out of the house and talk to police. I did go to that house after the scene cleared, and she immediately asked me to leave. Neighbors say again that it was a really scary situation, but they were also disappointed to see RPD resources used on a hoax.
Know that it's in your neighborhood negative I can't fathom the fact. I wouldn't want to. It's scary, especially when you have little kids and stuff, so.
I also asked RPD how many times that they've responded to these swatting calls within the last year and how much it cost the department to do so. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Raleigh.
Authorities say a man is in the hospital with serious injuries because of a shooting on South Roxborough Street in Durham. Police responded yesterday afternoon and found a man with life-threatening injuries. You're looking at video on your screen from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. No one was in custody at last check, and police say this is still an active investigation.
We are in for an unusually cool afternoon with low humidity today. A great day to go out to the WRAL Azalea Gardens. We invite you out. Look, there's already a family over there, maybe having a picnic and taking pictures. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center to show us some changes in the pattern for our weekend.
The thing that makes it feel so comfortable is the dew point. And this number, 41, is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. And it just keeps on dropping. This morning it was about 45, 46. Now it's dropped down to 41. So that puts us solidly in the refreshing zone. So this is how we measure the way it feels. Now, over the weekend, it's likely to climb on up towards steamy and then eventually tropical next week. We get into the 70s with our dew point, and it's, feels like the middle of the summer, like you walk outside and somebody's thrown a wet blanket over your head. So having this kind of weather at the end of May, almost the 1st of June, is very rare. It's a rare treat indeed. Why are we seeing it? We have high pressure that's up here near the Great Lakes. It's tapping into some cool, dry air in Canada and pushing it right into North Carolina. That high is going to move off to the east and start to tap into some of this wetter air, some of this moisture that's back to the west. We're not likely to see showers and thunderstorms, but we will see a switch in our wind direction. That high will slide off to the east, and then our winds will start to come out of the south. That'll be a tropical flow, and this green shaded area that you see Sunday afternoon moving in, that's a look at more moisture in the atmosphere. It's not necessarily rain, but that's going to feel a lot more uncomfortable as we get into the day on Sunday. Now, Saturday should still feel fairly pleasant. We'll have fairly low humidity for tomorrow, and 83. And then on Sunday, the humidity bumps up a little bit. The temperature may be 1 or 2 degrees warmer in the mid 80s, but then it will feel full on like summer by the middle of next week. And we'll talk about our next chances for thunderstorms coming up.
Friends of Tyler, Susie, and Miles Campbell are remembering them after they lost their lives in the Memorial Day crash in Garner. They gathered at Wake Med last night, and you can see how a lot of them wore Wolfpack red. Tyler and Susie Campbell were NC State grads. Tyler was an avid runner. His family tells us he was preparing for a marathon in Chicago this summer. NC State Health and Exercise Studies professor Dr. Joy Cagendo is organizing a run to honor Tyler and his family. Friends say Tyler brought people together with his energy and joy.
I wish we could emulate that. We just live one day at a time, but just live it to the fullest and just enjoy the people that you're around with.
The run to honor Tyler Campbell will be tomorrow at White Deer Park in Garner. It starts at 8 in the morning.
The Department of Labor is suing Hyundai for reportedly violating child labor laws. The complaint says a staffing agency sent a 13-year-old to work on an assembly line at Smart, Alabama. Hyundai owns a majority of Smart's parent company. The complaint alleges that the child worked up to 60 hours a week from July 2021 to February 2022. Hyundai says it was not responsible for employing the child, but has taken steps to prevent similar issues. Tesla is recalling more than 125,000 vehicles in the U.S. That's because of a malfunction in its seatbelt warning system. The warning system, the company says the issue can increase the risk of injury in a collision. The seatbelt warning light and chime may not activate when the driver is unbelted. The recall affects certain Model S, X, 3, and Ys made between 2012 and 2024. Tesla will release an over-the-air software update to fix the issue.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is leaving the Democratic Party. We have a statement from him here. We'll show you. It said, "To stay true to myself and remain committed to put country before party, I have decided to register as an independent with no party affiliation and continue to fight for America's sensible majority." Manchin's Senate term is coming to an end, and he previously announced that he would not be seeking re-election in November. There is time for him to change his mind and run as an independent. Outgoing Governor Jim Justice won the primary for the state's Republican Senate nomination.
The Special Olympics Summer Games are here. The weekend full of fun and competition kicks off this evening at NC State's Reynolds Coliseum at 6:30. Law enforcement officers will light the cauldron to kick off the games. This year, more than 1,300 adults and children with intellectual disabilities from across the state will compete in 7 sports.
Oh boy, time is running out for a lucky Powerball winner to claim their $150,000 prize. The $3 Power Play ticket was purchased for the December 6th drawing at Merchants Groceries on Bryce Creek Road. That's in New Bern, if you're familiar. The ticket was a $3 Power Play ticket that matched 4 of the 5 white balls and the red Powerball to win $50 grand. It tripled to $150,000 when the 3 times multiplier came up in the drawing. Here are the winning numbers from that day. 2, 12, 37, 56, 65, and the Powerball was 21. To claim that prize, the ticket must be presented at lottery headquarters in Raleigh by 5 p.m. this Tuesday. That's money, folks.
Don't leave it sitting on the table. 3 historic stone houses at Dix Park reopened this morning after 16-month renovation. Today's ribbon cutting marked 100 years since their original construction. The buildings have been transformed thanks to a $5 million gift from the State Employees Credit Union and its foundation. The Gatekeeper's Cottage will be a welcome center with a historic display. The superintendent's house will serve as the Dix Park Conservancy's offices and meeting space. And the physician's house will offer office space for City of Raleigh volunteer services and host artists in residence. The trial process for Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 Idaho students, isn't happening as fast as victims, families, and the defense want. At noon today, a look at their take on this.
Plus, TikTok, what would a U.S. clone of a TikTok app even look like? Well, a new report suggests the company is working on one, but hear what TikTok's owners have to say about that.
And a live report coming up. A local fire chief's court appearance accused of a felony crime involving a hidden camera.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Lawyers for accused killer Bryan Kohberger on the attack. They say prosecutors are dragging their feet, turning over evidence. And at a pretrial hearing, the defense questioned tactics used by investigators. Liz Kreutz reports the families of the 4 murdered college students say their healing is being delayed by slow retrial hearings.
The lead detective in the case against Bryan Kohberger taking the stand for the first time at a pretrial hearing. Kohberger's defense seeking to compel the state to turn over more evidence.
I need to know everything they relied on to do their work.
The defense attorney pressing Detective Brett Payne on his team's collection of video surveillance.
How many video surveillance attempts did you make to get video from businesses or homes on all of those routes?
I do not recall, but it continued for some time.
What did you find?
Nothing to my recollection.
Not one video depicting the car.
To my memory, no.
I need to know where these videos are.
Prosecutors insisting they've already turned over a mountain of material.
To date, we've given 15,691 bait-stamped pages of discovery. We've given 13,758 bait-stamped photographs.
The defense firing back.
Discovery is being given to us as if we're living in a snow globe and it's just swirling around us and we're constantly having to put it together.
Police say video surveillance and cell phone records, as well as DNA evidence, placed Kohberger near the scene of the murders on November 13th, 2022. When 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were found fatally stabbed in their off-campus home. The defense's second witness, a cellular data expert, said that 2 to 3% of cell phone data in the case is missing.
That mistake has a ripple effect. We've reached a point that we need to determine, is this just human error? Is this accidental? Is it intentional?
The family of victim Kaylee Gonzalez expressing their frustration in a statement saying every hearing is painful to watch with an endless lack of organization and accountability.
That was Liz Kreutz reporting. We expect to hear from more witnesses on evidence gathering next week. Then another hearing will be held next month to determine where the trial will take place. Once that is done, the judge could finally set a trial date.
A man has filed a federal lawsuit against the so-called goon squad that was part of law enforcement in Mississippi. That man says a known member of that squad beat him. It alleges former Rankin County Deputy Brett McAlpin, seen here in court, beat Christopher Mack for 45 minutes while he was in their custody at the jail. Other members of law enforcement are named in this suit. McAlpin is currently in prison serving a 27-year sentence in West Virginia. He was one of 6 officers who pled guilty last year to beating and torturing 2 black men.
A police officer is dead, another injured after responding to a shooting in a Minneapolis neighborhood. The violence unfolded at an apartment complex last night. Officials say Officer Jamal Mitchell was shot and killed when he was ambushed as he was trying to provide medical assistance to two people who were hurt. After Mitchell was shot, a second officer got there, and that officer and the suspect both fired shots. Mitchell was a father and was engaged to be married.
I want to take a moment to talk about who Jamal Mitchell was. He was a hero, a son, a father, a fiance, and an officer who was so deeply committed to protecting and serving.
Officer Mitchell was with the Minneapolis Police Department for a year and a half. The suspect died at the scene. A third person was found dead in an apartment. It's not clear what led to the shooting.
This afternoon, President Joe Biden will welcome the Kansas City Chiefs back to the White House. They'll celebrate their Super Bowl victory. The Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers, and this will be the Chiefs' second visit to the White House in as many years. And the College Baseball World Series starts today, including with 2 games in the Triangle. Top seed UNC will host the 4 seed Long Island and Chapel Hill. That's in the first game. NC State is also 1 seed. They will host the 4 seed Bryant College in the first round. Duke is the 2 seed in their region. They'll play 3 seed UConn. That game is happening in Oklahoma.
Good to see the boys of summer, and soon it will feel like summer again. Today, though, feels nice.
Yeah, it feels really nice outside. You have some people over at the golf course behind Elizabeth there.
You know, everybody's talking about it. Everybody that I run into is saying, the weather is amazing. You know, can we keep it? I'm like, probably not this time of year. This is kind of weather we normally see, early to mid-spring or, sometime in October. So get out and enjoy it while you can. We will gradually see it returning to summer as we get through the weekend and into early next week. Beautiful in Pinehurst, though. They are out. They've put some new flags up. Of course, it's just a little over 2 weeks before the U.S. Open is right here at Pinehurst Resort and Country Club. And so folks are out and about enjoying the day. 73 is our temperature in the Triangle. We have a northeast wind, a little breezy. It's out of the out of the northeast at about 10 miles per hour. Some gusts up to around 15. Not terribly windy, but just a little breezy. We'll climb into the upper 70s for highs this afternoon. I love this weather watcher from Andrea Osborne. There's a really cool sculpture that's over at NC State. And yesterday when we had that deep blue sky and the white clouds with those reds and pinks, really beautiful, dramatic picture. So thank you to Andrea for sending that in from over at NC State. We would love to see your photos too. Go to WRAL.com, click Weather Watchers, and it'll tell you how to upload your photos for us. We'll show them on TV. 75 right now in Fayetteville, 73 Goldsboro, 71 South Hill, a cool 68 up in Roxborough, and 72 in Southern Pines. Again, 78 for the high in Raleigh, 76 in Durham, and 80 degrees in Fayetteville for today. Now tonight's going to be another cool one too. We started off with some very cool temperatures this morning. We'll see the same thing. We tend to see the coolest temperature of the day between 6 and 7 a.m. this time of year. And so in the morning, some 40s, 45 in Roxborough, 49 Lewisburg, and in Rocky Mount, 46 in Siler City. I mean, that's cool for this time of year. Fayetteville at 54 in the morning, 48 in Sanford, 51 in Smithfield and in Goldsboro. Lots of things happening over the weekend. The weather's going to be nice for all of it. Kat Campbell is emceeing the Walk for Animals from the Animal Protection Society of Durham. Temperatures in the morning at 9 o'clock will still be in the mid-60s and 70s as the walk is wrapping up. International Festival in downtown Raleigh also looking great. It starts at 11 a.m., 75 degrees, and we will climb into the low 80s for highs in the afternoon. There's that incredible 41 for a dew point. Even as a meteorologist, I'm kind of geeking out about this. We just don't see 41 for a dew point at the end of May, almost June 1st. It's crazy. It does climb. By Sunday, we get back to almost steamy, and then by Tuesday and Wednesday, we're looking at tropical. That's the dew point of 70 degrees. So we're going to go from 41 today to 70 with the dew point. It's going to be a big, big change. Why are we seeing this unusually cool air? We have this high pressure system. High pressure systems rotate clockwise. So that high up there was dragging down all of this cool, dry air. But as the high moves out, our wind will shift to southwesterly. That's going to bring the summer feel back. You can see the green shaded area. That is moisture in the atmosphere or a bump up in the humidity that we'll see on Sunday and Monday. Headed to the mountains over the weekend. It looks nice, except Sunday afternoon we may see a few scattered storms. It'll be nice and dry at the beach over the weekend, so that's a great place to be. We get to the middle of next week and we're back to a chance of some scattered thunderstorms. We'll talk about those chances and the humidity to go along with it coming up.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, the Garner community mourns a married couple and their young son killed in a car crash caused by a suspected drunk driver. We'll explain how a UNC nurse and friend of one of the victims is pushing for changes to toughen drunk driving penalties.
And new at 5, we are ending May on a high note with several perfect scores in 5 on Your Side's restaurant ratings. Jeep is revealing its first fully electric vehicle, the specs that could encourage customers to take a second look.
You know, not everyone can break for exercise during their workday, but having an active workstation could be a solution. We'll explain why.
A new option for filing your taxes for free. And pending home sales tumbled as mortgage rates jumped last month. Those are among today's business headlines with Maribel Aber.
Pending home sales fell to the lowest level since the start of the pandemic last month. Signed contracts for sales of existing homes dropped 7.7% in April. This is according to the National Association of Realtors. It was the slowest pace since March of 2020 when the pandemic hit. Now, the measure of signed contracts shows how mortgage rates are hitting the real estate market. And the decline in April came as rates on a 30-year fixed loan shot up to 7.5%. They had been around 6.9% at the end of March. Jeep has revealed its first fully electric SUV for the U.S. market called the Wagoneer S. It carries a price tag of about $72,000 and is scheduled to go on sale this fall. The vehicle will also be sold in other markets worldwide, which will make it Jeep's first global EV. The model features a sleeker, more aerodynamic shape than present Wagoneer models, and it has 2 electric motors, is able to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds. The IRS says its free electronic tax filing system is here to stay. Called Direct File. It was rolled out this year. It's part of a pilot program in a dozen states. More than 140,000 taxpayers used it and then saved an estimated $5.6 million in filing costs. Now, all 50 states and Washington, D.C. have been invited to join the program. The IRS also has its free file system, which helps lower-income taxpayers file at no cost using guided software from private tax preparation firms. And those are your business headlines. I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ Market Site.
The owner of TikTok is denying a report from Reuters about a U.S.-only clone of its app. Reuters says this is part of efforts to show U.S. lawmakers the business operates freely from its owner in Beijing. But again, TikTok's owner, ByteDance, denies that. TikTok is already suing the U.S. government, in fact. That's because of a new law that gives ByteDance until January 19th to pass control of the app to someone else or face a ban. North Carolina will be one of the only states with a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic band. The company says the bands are going away in most stores, but they will stay in just 5 locations. One of them will be in Charlotte. The others will be in California, Illinois, and 2 in New York.
A local fire chief accused of placing a camera in a fire station vent is due in court this afternoon. Hear why he says no one was violated.
But then I realized, because I was practicing spell-offs for 6 months, I realized that maybe I have a shot at winning, and I did.
And he did. In case you missed it, we'll share the dramatic ending to the Scripps National Spelling Bee. And of course, before we go, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
In just a few hours, the Grays Creek fire chief is set to be in court. He's accused of putting a camera in a vent at a fire station.
Benjamin Marsh is the fire chief at Station 24. He faces several charges surrounding the incident that happened during November and December of last year. WRAL's Gilbert Bays is live outside the fire station with more on these accusations. Gilbert.
Well, Renee, we will point out that photojournalist Michael Jordan and I just got into a heated exchange with personnel from the fire station who tried to kick us off the public right-of-way where we are here. We are with every right to be here to report this story. We also want to point out that there are 2 fire stations here in Grays Creek, Fire Station 18 and this one right here. This is Grays Creek Fire Department number 24, volunteer fire department, and this is the one that we're talking about in terms of the allegations. We want to show you the fire chief that's involved. here. He's 41-year-old Benjamin Marsh. He is here at the station right now, but didn't want to talk to me on camera. But WRAL has a recording of Marsh, who called a meeting with his firemen after the camera was discovered. Now, on that recording, Marsh admits to placing the camera in the air vent inside the fire station TV room. He says he put it there to squash rumors that were circulating about an incident that happened at the station several years ago. But he also gave this reason for putting the hidden camera in the TV room.
It was also to make sure the people that were in line or in my mind at that time to get promotions was not part of that problem, because if I'd have found out they wouldn't have got promotions.
Now, Chief went on to say that the camera did not have the ability to record. He told the firemen he could use an app to turn the camera on and see and listen to those who were in the TV room, but he didn't record anything. Marsh faces some serious charges here. He's charged with felony intercept and disclosure wire, oral and electronic communications by placing that camera in the vent at the fire station. Now, he will make his first appearance to face those felony charges this afternoon at 2:30 at the Cumberland County Detention Center. In Cumberland County, Gilbert Bays, WRAL News.
The 28-year-old son of the co-founder of Buc-ee's has been indicted over bathroom recordings. Texas authorities say Mitchell Wasick secretly recorded guests at several Texas homes owned by the Wasick family. None of the recordings involves the convenience chain. Authorities have identified 13 different people recorded over the course of 2 years. It's unclear how much time Wasick could serve if he's convicted. Under Texas law, invasive visual recording can result in a maximum of 2 years in jail per count.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, back to our coverage of former President Donald Trump. He lashed out over his guilty verdict at a news conference outside of Trump Tower this morning, saying the witnesses in his case were, quote, literally crucified. He added, our country is in very bad shape and they're very much against me saying these things. But he says it goes far beyond that. Take a listen.
I'm doing something for this country and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency.
And Trump finished his remarks saying that Election Day, November 5th, is the most important day in the history of our country. This is a live look right now outside of Trump Tower. You can see a lot of protesters out there showing their support for former President Donald Trump. We know that the sentencing date is 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention.
Thank you, Michelle, for that update. Newly released 911 calls from a Moore County shooting are revealing more about what happened. A woman desperately calls for deputies to get to her house as her husband was confronting a man she says was taking photos of their home. That man was a utility worker, 35-year-old Ramzan Daryaev, according to investigators. The sheriff's office says he was a subcontractor for Utilities One. In the call, a woman pleads with the dispatcher to hurry up and send police to her home in Carthage. She said Daryaev was taking photos of their property, their children, and was getting aggressive.
There's an intruder on our property. My husband has gone to meet him, is now talking to him and yelled to me from the wood line to call the police. Okay. He's been very aggressive.
Deputies who responded found Daryaev shot to death, but it's unclear if any charges will be filed.
A Zebulon woman is charged with child abuse for something police say happened at a school. 62-year-old Shirley Richardson is facing 2 misdemeanor counts of child abuse. Police say the incident happened earlier this month. It involved a student at Wakeland Elementary School. At the time, Richardson was working at the school as an instructional assistant. The city of Durham is paying nearly $8 million to a man who spent nearly 24 years in prison after a wrongful conviction. A federal jury awarded Daryl Howard a $6 million settlement 2 years ago. It was determined that he was convicted with fake evidence. But the city of Durham refused to pay that settlement, and now the city is being forced to pay him more. The city sent Howard a $7.75 million payout yesterday.
Oh, it was a hard-fought battle, but in the end, a 12-year-old Florida boy won the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Berhat Soma earned more than $50,000 in cash and prizes. Chanel Jones takes us inside the exciting spell-off.
The 2024 Scripps National Spelling Bee champion.
12-year-old Bruhat Soma creating quite a buzz last night at the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Bruette.
BROUETTE.
Adelantado.
ADELANTIDO.
In a lightning round tiebreaker, just the second one in the competition's history, the seventh grader correctly spelled 29 words most of us have never heard of.
MYRABALANUS.
Sinaf.
SCINIPH.
Voussoir.
VOUSSOIR.
And he did it in just 90 seconds.
Apisiopiesis.
APOSIOPESIS.
Abseil.
ABSEIL.
Pathology.
Appearing stunned at his own accomplishment, his proud family cheering him on from the gallery.
And what a performance from Bruhat Soma.
Bruhat giving new meaning to the old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. In 2022, he tied for 163rd place at the Bee. And just last year, he came in 74th place.
I was pretty disappointed by my performance, and I knew I had to work harder.
But the third time was definitely the charm for the Tampa seventh grader.
I just put a lot of time to spelling, and then now I'm really happy that I won. I really can't describe it, I'm still shaking.
In case you're wondering, apisiopiesis is the device of suddenly breaking off in speech. I just had to know what that word meant. Good on him. And a local spelling champion had a great showing in the spelling bee, too. Ananya Prasanna tied for third place. She goes to Davis Drive Middle School in Apex. This was actually her third time in the National Spelling Bee, and she says she's hoping to make it back for a fourth time next year.
We know how steamy summer can be, how a heat wave could result in a spike in early births.
Plus, Consumer Reports is calling out General Mills, the high levels of a certain chemical it found in some of its food products. Getting you a live look outside right now in downtown Raleigh. A couple people walking there in Fayetteville Street. You don't see why not. It's a great day outside as you're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. Cardiovascular experts say research shows using an active workstation can help you move more and think better at work without affecting your job. An active workstation could be a desk maybe where you can just stand and move around, or stand and walk, or bike, pedal, or use a stepper, kind of like a little desk gym you have there. You can do this intermittently, alternating with sitting while answering emails, video calls, or even working on projects.
Sitting for 8 hours or more a day is almost as bad as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day in terms of cardiovascular health.
And here's the thing, you don't have to be active all day to see the benefits. You can achieve your goals as long as you do not sit for more than 3 or 4 hours throughout the day.
Heat waves could lead to women to go into labor early. The World Health Organization found the rates of preterm and early term births slightly increased after pregnant women experienced high temperatures for more than 4 consecutive days. It also found early term babies who were delivered between 37 and 38 weeks of pregnancy had a higher mortality rate than those who were born at 39 to 40 weeks. Researchers at NC State will have a new facility to conduct research on the future of protein. The university is receiving a $30 million grant from the Bezos Earth Fund. Over the course of 5 years, researchers will study ways to create sustainable protein to help feed a growing population.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, some breaking news. President Biden's campaign has responded to former President Donald Trump's speech that he made earlier this morning. He said in part, quote, "America just witnessed a confused, desperate, and defeated Donald Trump ramble about his own personal grievances and lie about the American justice system, leaving anyone watching with one obvious conclusion: this man cannot be president of the United States." He also went on to say he thinks that this election is about him, but it's not. It's about the American people lowering their costs, protecting their freedoms, and defending their democracy. And that is what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are fighting for. This is a live picture in Manhattan outside of Trump Tower, where there are supporters of Donald Trump there right now.
Thank you, Michelle. Inside the eye of the storm, we are going to show you how experts are using technology to keep us safe on the eve of the start of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season.
And a consumer advocacy group issues a new warning to General Mills: the dangerous chemicals in some food packaging that could make your family sick.
So if you didn't know, tomorrow is the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season. That is why today we are taking a behind-the-scenes look into a name you may hear often throughout the season: the Hurricane Hunters.
Brandy Campbell takes us behind the scenes at their life-saving operation. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Yeah, in the last 2 hours, former President Donald Trump spoke about his historic guilty verdict. He called the trial, quote, very unfair. Trump's sentencing date is 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. That is where he is expected to be named the GOP nominee for president. Trump's attorneys may try to push his sentencing date even further, possibly even after the November 5th presidential election. However, that's unlikely. The judge would grant a delay.
A southeast Raleigh neighborhood saw a heavy police presence this morning. Within about 30 minutes, police confirmed it was a swatting call. Neighbors say they were confused by the police response. This trend has become more common within recent years, and the FBI says it is a serious crime.
Authorities say a man is in the hospital with serious injuries because of a shooting on South Roxborough Street in Durham. Police responded yesterday afternoon and found a man with life-threatening injuries. The video you're seeing right now is from the WRAL breaking news tracker. At last check, no one's in custody. Police say this is an active investigation.
Consumer Reports is calling out General Mills for high levels of chemicals used to make plastic in its food products. The group sent a petition with more than 30,000 signatures to General Mills, urging it to address the high levels of potentially hazardous chemicals. Consumer Reports says after testing 85 different foods, it found some General Mills products contain phthalates. Studies have shown the chemical can lead to a higher risk of diabetes, certain cancers, and cardiovascular disease. General Mills says food safety is its top priority.
A new streaming service is giving viewers a chance to design their own shows using artificial intelligence. It's called Fable Studio. It's the company behind Showrunner. The company says the platform writes, it voices, and animates a variety of shows. It will also allow users to control any aspect of the show they want to watch. Fable first debuted its technology by creating an episode of South Park with its AI.
2 New Jersey police officers jumped into action after hearing a baby's cry for help. Did we mention it was a baby deer? The fawn somehow got stuck in a fence at home. The officers wiggled it a bit and helped it slip out safely, as you saw there. The baby deer immediately running off after being freed. No one knows if it reunited with its mother.
Careful, too, when you see something like that. You don't want to harm it. You don't want to make it, freak out and then, I don't know, twist its leg or something like that. So I'm glad that you were able to get him out.
Yeah.
Poor little thing.
Like just helping it.
All right, our pet of the day from the SPCA of Wake County is sweet but nervous girl who is looking for a safe place to call home. Mary Kate is a 1-year-old spayed female dog weighing 38 pounds. She's often nervous in new situations, but if Mary Kate has a dog friend by her side, whole different story. Different side emerges. Suddenly, she's feeling fine and loving life. In foster care, Mary Kate has shown that she is a happy, active girl who loves the outdoors. And for more information, you can visit spcawake.org.
As the academic year ends for students in high school and college, many will get summer jobs, but the job prospects for teens may be a lot better than those for college grads. Ahead on our news at 4, a look at the job market for both groups.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, and your next local news update is in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a wonderful Friday.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.